Workflow Wednesday. And today I'm excited. If you've been around me at all, you know that I've been talking about ServiceNow for way too long. But it's used by so many of our customers to really transform the world of work across their enterprise. As that transformation takes place, we need that platform to be healthy. And so if you're involved in ServiceNow in your organization, as an admin, as a developer, or as a leader responsible for it, platform health should be top of mind. I'm overjoyed today to have two people join me. So let me remove my pin and do some introductions. With me today, I have Zach Temple and Mike Scully. Zach, would you do a little intro?
Yeah, my name's Zach Temple. I'm an outbound within Impact, and a big area of my focus is platform health. So I look forward to talking to you today.
Thank you, Zach. Mike.
And Mike Scully, Principal Platform Architect here at ServiceNow, passionate about health, and some even call me a health evangelist, but we'll have some fun here today. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you both for joining. As we talk about it, one of the things that kind of brought this topic to mind is as I work with customers to understand the power of impact and looking at their health of their platform, they really come back with there's so many options to help us scan and diagnose and monitor the health of our platform. But it's even more than that. It's a process. And so, Mike, I know, like you said, you've been called an evangelist for platform health. You want to talk about that a little bit, kind of set the stage for where platform health fits.
Sure, and I'll pull up a slide here quickly. Not a lot of slides here this morning, but wanted to at least have something here in the background as we talk. But platform health really is about behavior. It's about operationalizing and making health be part of your standard routine. So it's a journey, it's diagnostics, it's other things, as you mentioned there, Troy, but really looking at technical debt, managing that, driving towards leading practices. So within that, there's really a cycle. It's a process to really follow within your environment where you're going to execute kind of a clone, go through that scan detail, remediation and actual alignment to best practices, take any learnings out of that and educate folks coming from the findings that you would do from a health diagnostic scan. Add some governance if necessary, if you see that there's kind of a need to add some controls or guidance around that to make sure that you're following best practices and your developers are following that. Implementing any internal measurements that you want to use to track your development teams and their approach to it. And then finally, it's a repetitive process. So it's not a one and done, it's not a report card. It really is something where we want to come alongside and help you understand that journey. And so establishing a program is really what that's about, is build that out, have capacity, and continue.
Can I interrupt you a little bit there?
Sure.
Because I want to dig into a couple of these bullets or a couple of those circles is really the measure, clone, and scan. And we're going to spend time really diving into some of those. And so I wanted to pause a little bit because, Impact is a newer product for us, but a lot of it stemmed from feedback we were getting from our customers that it's like, how do you help us get the most of our ServiceNow investment and drive value from it? And there's many things here that, for those of us who've been around the platform for a while, it is, let's clone back, let's scan, there's something that prompted that. It is a cycle. But Zach, if you jump in a little bit, if I could put you on the spot to talk about some of that, where impact came from and how we've really jumped into that measure, clone, scan, and to give us some observability capabilities too.
Yeah, of course. When you think about impact, we talk about setting that foundation for, a strong platform from a health perspective. And Mike, what you have here captures a lot of what you get with impact, but it all goes back with that starting foundation of strong platform health. Obviously, the scan piece and thinking about that from a health scan perspective, and visualizing that in the impact software. But then also the observability piece, the dashboard of how your instance is running and maintaining insight on that. And then you think about all the other components of impact that fill some of these buckets that you shared here, Mike. It really starts to show that impact operating model. And again, leading from the front with platform health is very important.
Yeah. Back to you, Mike. I
Yeah.
Can I interject a little bit? But I want
no worries.
Pause, right?
This is your show, brother. I'm just along for the ride. Happy to help. The observability obviously is one of those work streams and kind of the diagnostics. So this is kind of how it all works together with Impact there. Zach, thanks for bringing that up. And diagnostics and the scan and that cycle that we started to look at really falls in that diagnostic column here. And then, of course, with Impact, you get the premium support as well. And so across all of those, we're generating a series of recommendations or details by which to then remediate or take action on. So it's a continual kind of a feedback cycle where each of these are working to drive your platform health forward.
I think the good thing to mention here too is these three buckets meet the customer where they are in their journey. It doesn't matter if you're a net new customer or you've been a customer for 10 years. These three buckets apply to you.
Right.
Absolutely. There's really that cycle as you continue really evolves with maturity. So to your point there, Zach, is as the customer matures or has been on platform or has established that cadence of regular routine checks of health and doing those diagnostics, doing the observability, they gain maturity. And so each step on that cycle that we looked at, really they can do more. And so that's the main purpose of each bubble. But now they're looking perhaps deeper and wider, and they're scanning in other areas that they may not have previously. So as they're able to kind of consume more, we can give them more and help point out even more ways that they can unlock value. And to that point, that's really something where it drives unlocking value is that center of this kind of three-legged stool of healthy adoption. Really looking at how do you unlock innovation? Well, you got to drive that innovation and adopt the new features and things as they come through, but you got to do so in a healthy way. So when you're doing all of that and you're continuing to operate and maintain that health, that's going to drive that healthy adoption. You're going to move towards the objectives that you set out. You're going to unlock value, and you're going to be able to drive more innovation into your platform.
I know one of the things that we had talked about a little bit too when we were preparing for this is it's kind of like human performance and human health, right? That when you first go to the doctor, it's like you do some base analysis and you might answer some honestly pretty generic questions. You might do some pretty obvious changes.
Yep.
But as you do that, you almost uncover new levels of performance, right? Not just getting base exercise, but maybe I'm lifting. Maybe I'm getting into some high intensity intervals, and maybe I'm competing in some events, right? There's tiers of human performance, and I liked how you guys talked about really seeing that in our customers too, as they look at platform health.
Absolutely, it's kind of an evolution from moving kind of, you say, okay, how am I doing? Just general basic checkup if you're going to your primary care doctor, but you may then see, hey, something's going on here. I need to look deeper. I need to run a few more tests. I need to understand what this is doing. And that's really where Impact comes alongside with the customer to kind of say, how do we help guide you and understand what that deeper look looks like? What is it actually meaning for you and your platform? What are those decisions that you as a customer have made that may be causing technical debt? And in fact, is there innovation or things coming out that now as a customer they can choose to adopt, and as a result unwind some of that technical debt? So again, part of that cycle is continuing to evolve, continuing to mature, and to your point there, Troy, getting healthier by adding more things.
Right. I think it's one thing that always comes up with customers they're always asking for what good looks like. And candidly, each instance is different. Each customer is different. What's going on is really changing how an instance performs. Using your health analogy, Mike, definitely, marathon runner is going to be a lot different than someone like myself that eats too many pizza and wings in terms of my health metric score. But really, when it comes down to it, Impact immerses themselves. Impact as a product immerses it in the customer and their instance. And you're getting that one-on-one hands-on treatment in terms of what's going on within your instance or instances in some cases.
Right.
Absolutely.
When we kind of kicked off, and Mike, thanks for jumping to this slide. We talked about, I've got customers that come to me, and I'm sure you guys do, that like, can you help me understand how my platform is doing? And there's so many tools kind of across our organization. that we can bring to bear. And I love how you put this slide together, Mike, to kind of show where some of these things fit. And so if we could take a few minutes to kind of talk through those to help our customers, that they can reach out to us, they can reach out to their core team and say, I need some help and I understand I have access to these tools.
Absolutely. Well, some folks have exposure to some of our health tools already through our services. And so they may have had an opportunity to work with a scorecard with their solution consultant. They may have purchased a configuration review and to have a deep dive that was done from a services perspective. But with Impact, the software itself has a series of packages. So you see that across the top with the guided, the advanced, and the total. Within that, we, of course, then have the multiple pieces, the support, the observability, and the diagnostics. So, Zach, you want to speak to the instance observer?
Yeah, I think, when you think about the health components of Impact, I always use a car analogy to describe Instance Observer and Health Scan. Instance Observer is your dashboard to your car. How fast are you driving? How much gas is in the tank? What's the temperature of the engine? Then when you have Health Scan, that's very much your check engine light might be on. Let's take it to the mechanic. They're going to plug it into the computer. They're going to tell you exactly what's wrong. And it's a really powerful combination of seeing how the Health Scan scores at times impact performance, and just, that relationship really helps you manage a healthy platform and get insights into telemetry and areas of concern within the platform. That's not always the easiest to identify when you're on instance. But I think you're definitely a health assessment expert, Mike. I would love to hear some of your.
Let me pause and interject, Mike. Remember where you're going to go on that. But sure. One of the things that I love about Instance Observer is the fact that it's running continually on all of our customers' instances. So as a customer comes on to ServiceNow, they'll have at minimum a number of instances from their production instance, of course, that matters most. But they have pre-prod environments as well, or instances as well. Instance Observer is tracking all of those. And I know all of us have heard stories already where customers have had IO, Instance Observer, watching these pre-prod environments, and they've been able to kind of step in and say, what happened? And they caught it in pre-production.
Yeah, it's a very powerful application when you're thinking about deploying update sets and upgrades and understanding the impact, as you mentioned, to the lower environment. And we have plenty of success stories from our customers leveraging Instance Observer, stopping any production outages through lower production environment visibility.
Can you hear like the sigh of relief from those that are watching this right now when they heard that? It's like, it could catch things before it gets to prod.
And then there's the other piece, right? It's not just going in and visualizing the telemetry. Instance Observer will do that for you as well. You're going to dig into the telemetry of your instance, really understand how it's operating, how it's performing. And then you proactively set alerts. And there's multiple channels that which you can alert upon. So again, you can rest assured that you can go to sleep at night and you'll be notified far before, there's an actual outage within the instance.
Yeah, thanks. Back to you, Mike. Tell us about the Health Scan platform.
Sure. Health assessment within the Impact software is part of implementing that cycle that we showed up front in more of a routine pattern with accelerators and ongoing checks. So health assessment is your platform architect coming alongside you and saying, okay, let's deep dive under the hood, as Zach said. Let's look and say, all right, why is that check engine light potentially on? What is the scorecard telling us that we may want to say, look deeper? So the health assessment goes deeper, and it actually will come back with a series of the findings in a detailed way saying, this is exactly where it is in your instance, and here's a link to best practices, how to resolve that. So right alongside, you're kind of given very prescriptive guidance of, hey, do your sit-ups, eat your Wheaties, do this, do that. It kind of comes along those ways. So this is part of that cycle where we want to move that into a cadence of monthly, because now it's not, again, okay, at any given point, I see all of my clients ebb and flow. You see that float from time to time. You see some come in because of dev cycles, and then you see it flow out. You see upgrades affect that. So it's natural to have some sort of fluctuation in the scores and in the findings. But the idea is to add those controls and take the guidance from your platform architect within Impact and use that to kind of further tune and tune and tune until you have this really refined process and realize, okay, we've stopped the bleeding, we've stopped the inflow of new findings at a rapid pace, and we're slowly making a bigger and bigger dent against the backlog of those findings. And you'll see those scores go up, you'll see the findings counts go down, you'll see that you've taken learnings and your developers have gotten smarter so they're not reintroducing those same things. And all of that is then populated into the Impact digital experience. So the consumption of all of that data, the detailed findings, the prescriptive guidance, that is readily available right in the software in Impact. So you can retrieve that, download it, carve it up, work with your teams, and use that to execute on a go-forward basis.
I think the one thing to call out here, Mike, is the governance component with Impact, right? The health tools are great, but the other component to that is defining a really good governance model. So when you are making changes to the platform, you understand the impact before you make a decision of yes or no if you're going to do that. And that's really where you start to see that upward trend of better platform health, understanding where you're at, safeguarding the organization, and then continually monitoring and improving, as you mentioned.
Absolutely. And part of that is making sure that you're informing everyone along the way too. I think is when you're learning, you need to make sure that, okay, why did we make this decision, and take those governance decisions out and say, okay, is it trickling down? Is it reaching the developer teams? Are you changing perhaps your developer onboarding process because of things learned from insights from observability or from diagnostics?
Right. And I'll just pull at a little bit of that governance thread is sometimes that governance word is just used by itself and it means different things to different people. But with an Impact, it's really a lens that helps our teams that are really trying to champion ServiceNow go from maybe being down in the technical weeds. We need technical governance. Impact helps provide that. We actually have an accelerator that will focus in on technical governance. But we also do so much with the value journey that there's a strategic governance that's there too. And I think platform health can really be improved with both of those focus on governance, right? Of where are the strategy, what are the key things that we're doing, and that might really guide which areas of health we need to focus more on. And yeah, technical governance is really driving some of the team and maybe driving, hey, we need some more enablement, need some more training and other things in areas because we keep having this symptom show up.
Yeah, I think there is with Impact, leveraging the ServiceNow expertise that's added to an organization's bench strength and immerse them into some of their change processes, not from a decision-making standpoint, but just simply from a voice of reason, making sure that it's validated, that the decisions they are making are probably the ones that they should. And there's a lot of good success stories with Impact with that as well, leveraging the ServiceNow experts available to make strong decisions from a platform perspective.
Absolutely. And not just the individual governance-driven accelerators, but there's other strategy pieces and your squad that's there with you. And so Platform Architect, I'm part of what they call a squad. It's a team of 4 folks that are embedded with your organization to help drive the overall value. We're there to help accelerate your success. And that is designed as a core element there. So you have guides, you have your customer success manager, you have your success architect, you have a platform architect, and you have your support account manager. So in all aspects, you have guides there along the way to point you to the right things that you're going to rapidly get the most value out of, to help you match and map out your objectives, to drive your roadmap, and to make sure, again, as you're driving that roadmap, you're doing it in a healthy way. You're learning from it. You're using that governance, and then you're ultimately unlocking that value.
Yeah, no, that's so good. And I'll clarify, I think, for those that are listening or watching this, that is you hear that full description of the squad that Mike just described. That's part of our Impact squad at both the advanced and total levels. For our Impact guided, we have a squad of 1. It's a CSM, and you still have access to the Impact software and our Impact digital experience. We call it the IDE. But we have some exciting things coming where right now you see Instance Observer really is in advanced and total. but we're opening up. We've heard enough questions, enough asks from our guided customers that there's some new things coming. Zach, do you want to touch on how we're going to start opening up Instance Observer to our guided customers? And then watching the time, I want to make sure that we have a next steps for our listeners as well.
Yeah, most definitely. So we're currently in the process of introducing Instance Observer for our guided customers. Again, using that dashboard experience analogy of a car, it's really important that all of our customers have good visibility into their instance performance telemetry. So looking at our guided customer base, we really want to unlock that and provide it in that great off-instance user experience that Instance Observer is. So there's more to come here in the future on that, but it's going to be really powerful for our guided customers to begin to understand their performance telemetry in an off-instance experience. So hopefully the days of digging through logs can be minimized and really help accelerate value.
Yeah, indeed. Couple minutes left. Closing remarks. Mike, what closing remarks would you have for people that are watching this right now?
Sure. And one more slide really from that is it's all about accelerating your success. Health is foundational to that, but it's more than just health. So we've talked a lot about health here today. I talked about the squad. We've talked a bit about having the right strategy. We've talked a bit about governance. We've talked about informing your people. We've talked a little bit about optimizing. So you're going to come using best practices. That drives optimization. You maximize in the adoption of new features. And finally, of course, all of that is tied to a healthy platform. When you do that, you're going to see more successful outcomes, and you're going to truly unlock that value.
Awesome. Thank you. Zach, closing
thoughts. My closing remarks is make sure you have a strong foundation and you maintain that foundation. I think this is a great slide to end with, Mike. You know, that healthy platform is at the bottom of that pillar. And it's the most important one, because without that, a lot of the other stuff doesn't happen.
Great. Thank you both for taking time to join me today and lean into this adventure of live streaming with me. I appreciate it more than I can share. For those that are watching, if this piqued your interest and you'd like to learn more, reach out to your core account team. Or if you know your service account executive, people like me, reach out to them. If you don't know who they are, I'm easy to find online. Reach out to me. I'm glad to help connect you, and we'll find ways to step in and help meet you where you're at and find ways to kind of get you into that circle of improving your platform health so you can get more from ServiceNow. Again, thanks for joining me on another Workflow Wednesday. I appreciate it. Have a good day.